a guy who had his own business lost his life to electric, working on his own house. We take for granted at times, when we're working in our house, we just kind of get lackadaisical and just kind of, I'll just take care of it. I'll get it done. Money is one thing, but life is another.
You're listening to Stories from the Top, an inside guide to better business development. We are here with Jeremy Mueller, the president and owner of Electrical Plus. To start, how do you like to describe Electrical Plus to people who may not be aware of what you guys do?
Well, as far as services that we provide is all electrical service. So anywhere from low voltage, line voltage, inside or interior and exterior electrical. So landscape lighting, outlets anywhere outside. You want them in a garden, you want them in the middle of the yard, lighting, uplighting, security lighting. And then anything inside the house that involves the electric, we will take care of. And then small commercial clients commercial clients that we can do small projects, maintenance, nothing major. We don't get into the whole build of commercial. And then on as far as residential side, we'll do mainly additions. We have a whole house that we're working on right now, but we typically don't get into the big projects like that.
Okay, cool. So to start out, I guess, what did you go to school for originally? What was your career goal at the beginning?
I was in the Navy. I went ahead and grew up on a farm out in Minnesota, and I really didn't have a drive or a direction that I wanted to go. So joined the Navy. I was a hydraulic mechanic, and when I got out, I stayed in this location, and my electrician from the Navy was working for a company and said that they were looking, because I was looking for a change. I was just selling car care products, and I was looking for a change, and he's like, well, come check this out. I'm like, well, I hate electric, but electricity, I was not a fan of it, and but it was an opportunity, so I jumped on that opportunity, went to the interview, and they're like, well, what do you know about electric? I'm like, if I hit that switch on that wall and that light comes on, I don't need to call you. And so, but they took me in, and while working for them, went to school at night to better myself, and then in 7 years I went and moved on and started my own company.
How old were you when you started training to be an electrician?
I was 23.
What were you going to school at night for?
To be an electrician. I went to Votech to, get the fundamentals and learn the codes and learn, how to be an electrician, and then, to work towards my master.
And so how long was that period where you were working for them and going to school?
School-wise, I did, probably about 3 years. Went from residential to commercial to industrial, and then I worked for them that whole time, which I've worked for them about 7 years, and then left and tried to start up my own thing, where I actually kind of figure out what I was doing. And when I was working part-time at Home Depot, and then when finished up to get my master, and went to school to finish that up, and then started up started up a J. Mueller construction, got into a house to try to flip and try to go that route. And while working at Home Depot part-time, I was in the electrical department and just started meeting people, talking to them, listening to their projects, and then all of a sudden people are like, well, why don't you come to my house and help me with this? So I'm like, all right, well, I need to be licensed, I need to get insurance. So it's kind of how it kind of grew. And then the biggest thing was my wife was pregnant with twins, and we got involved with the Twins Club, and they put me on the map. So for all of the work that they would send me or that I would do for them, I would give them a 10% discount. It would either would come off their bill, or I would donate 10% to the club.
What is the Twins Club?
So mothers of multiples. Chester County Mothers of Multiples was the group that my wife was a part of. It's a bunch of families, mainly women, that get involved to, be there as a support line for women that are having multiples, so that you have, a support group, especially young, which my wife was, our first was twins, and, you're new parent, and it's hard to understand what that is as, even with a single child, but then with multiple kids, what does that look like? And they were there for, with clothing sales and stuff like that. And then also just, you had your buddy that you would, reach out to if you had any questions, or, hey, freaking out or whatever. So
it's like a network of people. That's interesting. So that was pivotal, having that network. And you said you had like a 10% discount.
Yep.
So I guess that's almost like any other networking group. It helped you when you were first getting started. And so I guess word of mouth was really kind of like your first.
It sounds like too, like you weren't really looking to do that. People just kind of pulled you into doing the work, and to kind of out of necessity started up.
Yes, and that it was kind of it was working with people, helping people out, and wanted to be there, and it was nice to have that to kind of jumpstart the business. While I was trying to start up Electrical Plus, I worked for another electrician, and also kind of on the side, or I guess I was full time, but I told him I had my own business, wasn't gonna persuade his clients to
not be
come
scalping clients.
No. But I'm like, if I all of a sudden start getting enough clients for myself, I'm gonna be leaving. And he was like, okay, no problem, as long as you're give me a heads up and know. And I'm like, yeah. And then a contractor reached out to me that worked with my old company, and he was building a house, and he's like, you want to do the electric? I'm like, sure. I'm like, can I also help build the house? So I wanted to know the ins and outs of the house, so I can better help my clients when, running wires, or, knowing what the roof structure, knowing what load bearing walls are, knowing what they can move, what they can't move, that type of stuff. So
that was almost as like a research project, just to really understand.
Yep.
Interesting. So at what point did you officially start, like, legally establish Electrical Plus and start full time with that?
2006, August of 2006, which was a perfect time. My wife was pregnant with my youngest. I went out on my own and was trying to, make it work. With the support of my wife, made it much easier, with having, what did we have, 18-month-old twins, and, pregnant with, the youngest, and working out of my garage, selling stuff to go ahead and be able to buy material.
And just the business was just young at this point too.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Was that challenging at that time? I mean,
my gosh.
I can imagine.
It sounds like it happened quick too. It was like, if the twins were 18 months, it was less than 2 years from kind of getting involved with the Twins Club to actually Electrical Plus is full time now, right?
Yep.
So in 2 years, you started a business and had 3 kids.
Mm-hmm.
A huge shift in your life. And you were also working part-time and going to school and working for an electrician all at the same time? Or?
Well, no, at 2006, I was on my own.
Okay. You're on your own at that point.
But yeah.
Still a lot of life changes all at once. What was that pressure like for you? I mean, how did that feel day to day?
Tough. I mean, the one thing is I was young at the time, and I liked to work. So that kind of helped me out, but it was like I said, it was the support of my wife to, help me to push to get out and, do stuff myself. Because the one thing that I guess the biggest issue is, working with other people is their ways, how they would interact with clients, how they would interact with their employees. It was not exactly how I wanted to, where I wanted to put myself. So it was kind of, to start up essentially a new trend for contractors, for the employees.
So you saw some like negative examples of what you
yes.
didn't want to repeat in your own business?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, the one thing is, contractors, it's tough to go ahead and make it, as an employee to retire. Most contractors. And right now, I mean, I don't know exactly what the average age of a master electrician or an electrician is right now, but I believe it's somewhere in the 60s. Well, we need young people to grow, come into the trades to help grow, businesses. I mean, everybody needs trades. Everybody needs a plumber. Everybody needs an electrician. Everybody needs contractors, trashmen, everything, to make everything work. And it's just the stigmatism of, contractors, not my kid. They need to go to college. They need to, be a doctor, be a lawyer. We need those as well, but we also need contractors.
Mm-hmm.
So to bring young people in, how do you do that? And it's pay. It's, good work environment. It's benefits. It's, seeing a IRA or 401k. So retirement plan. What does that look like? So, that was one of the things I wanted to kind of bring to the trades.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like you can make a great living doing the trades, right? I mean, you're an example of that. So you're trying to build that into your business, not only for yourself, but for your employees, is what you're saying.
Correct.
Bringing those benefits to the trades.
Yes.
And forwarding that. That's cool.
So once you started getting busier and busier, at what point did you need to bring other people in to help you with the work?
So I guess the big jump for me was probably 07. Joined BNI, and it was a networking, a referral group. When I joined that, I started to, word of mouth, getting more people out there that knew me, knew the company, and then all of a sudden it just kind of expanded, and then unfortunately we grew fast, real fast, and it was...
Why do you say unfortunately?
Well, because you can only control so much of your quality. When you grow, you can't, if you do it too fast, quality goes down. Quantity goes up, but you're making more money, but if you're trying to brand a good name, you need slow and steady. Get your name out there, get your base, and then grow and be able to stay up on that platform instead of getting knocked off. And quantity you can get in trouble because you're just kind of like you're pushing because you want to get stuff done, and then all of a sudden people slip through the cracks, and then it's like, okay, what happened? So 2008 hit, and kind of the crash, and was probably the best thing that ever happened to my company. I was able to rebuild, do it the right way, do it a little bit slower, get the right people behind me, and then take it from there. And we've had a grow year ever since.
So what were the steps and things you put in place to control that growth and make sure the quality grew with it?
Hiring the right people, educating them, spending more time with them to, while working with clients, and making sure that, when I talk to a client that, we continued from the start to finish, that we were constantly communicating, pushing that, with my employees, getting somebody in the office to answer the phone, because if I'm in the field, I take down a number. Typically, I would write it on my arm with a marker. Well, if you're in the attic, it rubs off quickly. And, I've lost a couple clients and jobs from not getting back to them. And that was a big wake-up call. So then, it was get somebody in the office to be able to go ahead and have them talk to them, get, the information, be able to go ahead and say, all right, here's where our timeline is, here's what we can do. And just, I guess, keep that communication line open for the client was, I guess, the big thing that helped us to grow.
And what was that process of training those salespeople to kind of follow your standards of quality? Was that difficult?
Nah, well, I mean, obviously you can't train everybody. I mean, the one thing is I think you lead by example. If you can get somebody that wants to be a part of it, wants to go ahead and have that drive, it's an easy transition. If they're not, then it's going to be a little bit more difficult, and some people just don't. It's not going to be there. They may do it. It's with any business, and we as humans, we interact different. It's just kind of trial and error. But it was, kind of the nice thing is with how I guess the big thing is when we'd have people go in, if I send them and I was not around, is to have that communication with the client. So hopefully that they would, if there was a problem, they would call us and let us know what that was. And some clients, they would just kind of brush it off and just move on. Well, then if we're not doing any work for them, I'm like, well, what's going on here? What happened? And, you find out after the fact that they had a bad experience, and I'm like, well, can't fix what I don't know. So as far as employees wise, I mean, I've been very, very lucky to have some great employees working for me and, to want to be a part of a good organization.
So was that passion something you look for in the interview process or something you culturally tried to implement in the company?
Yes. I mean, every time when we sit down with a new potential employee is we lay out what Electrical Plus is. It's a family. When I interview, I'm interviewing family members. I want to make sure that they fit with the people that I have, because I'm going to take care of my family first, and they are my family. They need to know, or whoever's coming in needs to be a good fit for that. And some of the interviewing process, it's you kind of ask some questions, kind of see how they would work with a different situation. Just by answers you could sometimes cultivate through it, but it's tough. There's some slip through the cracks. They come work for us, and we try to rejuvenate or cultivate them to the way that we want to work, or the way our process is, and some get it and some don't.
So as your teams continue to grow and expand, did you end up having to write out like standard operating procedures and kind of, this is a checklist of what you must do at every house? Like, how did you control the quality of service everyone was delivering for you?
Putting the right people in the right place. Right now I have I have an operations manager. I have Sean, who is my COO, who's, takes care of the benefits and then also helps with the procedures. Andrew is the operations manager, and has checklists that the guys have to or should be looking at and going through, making sure when we show up, we're handing out business cards or identifying who we are. We're laying out drop cloths. We're bringing the proper material. We're doing walkthroughs. Communication. Everything we're big on is communication and cleanliness. So at the end of the job, walking through again, making sure the job is done, everything that was done on our scope of work. And if there's anything else that's needed, if we can do it in that time frame, we'll do it, or we need to set up an appointment where we come back out. And then once that's all done, clean up, wrap up, make sure the place is cleaner, if possible, cleaner than when we got there.
So there's a lot of trades companies, I'm sure you know a ton of them, that have bad reputations and kind of drag the whole industry down. Like we were just reading reviews for a plumbing company that stiffed us on a bill, and it's like, these guys are super scam, like they're just horrible reviews. And there's a lot of guys like that. It seems like they just want to take money. What exactly was your process to make sure that you guys stood out? What did you do to make sure that your brand was identifiable and different from the average, possibly scammy electrician company?
So, yeah, there's a lot of great electricians out there, a lot of great companies out there. To try to stand out even more than that is, I guess the big one was not taking, down payments or not taking deposits. It's tough. I mean, when we get into bigger ticket items with generators, if I have to order a special order something, we're going to have to deposit on that. But for the most part, when I started up the business, I didn't take deposits. And, the reason is because I wanted to get in there. Two, I felt that there's no, because in 2006, roughly about 2006 or so, was the big time that there was a lot of scams, and people were hesitant to hand out money, and people would take the money and then walk away. With doing that, it kind of put us in a financial problem, but great was good clients get done with the job and pushed us to get wrap jobs up and then get paid. And, it's simple as if we walk away from a job and there's no plate, if we forgot a plate that didn't get put on, we're not collecting a check until we're wrapped up.
Is that something that you continued today? You
Yes.
continue that process?
Yes.
So you'll start the job, you'll complete the job without a down payment?
For the most part, yes. With depending on the size of the job. I mean, a lot, like I said, with smaller jobs, yeah, we want to complete the job before we even do it. Some of the larger jobs, if we're doing renovate, like an addition or a house, we're going to do installments. Rough, or if we got special orders, we'll grab a deposit on that, then a rough, and then a final bill. So yeah, we try to do our best to help clients with that.
So I imagine the customer really likes that. But from the business side, have you ever been burned
yeah.
using that? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You have any like stories that you can share or anything like that? Without revealing any names or anything?
Nah, I mean, as far as that, it goes with anything. It's just tough. I mean, there's been people that we get in there, we'll do the job, and then all of a sudden they ghost us. It's it's unfortunate. Definitely nobody wants to go ahead and deal with that. It's tough. I've worked with other contractors. Kind of the reason why I walked away from contractors to the start is contractors had that where they would just stiff their subs, and I didn't want to be a part of it. We got linked up with a couple that they got themselves into trouble, and we try to work with them, and I'll get you on the next job, and then all of a sudden next job would come and go, and there was nothing, and then a little bit on that, and it's just you learn from it, and you hope that you don't get burned again.
Do you keep a list of those people so you cut people off at a certain point, or?
Yes, I mean the one thing is we have that list. I mean, obviously there's people that we know that have, and it's just if they call and they ask for us to do some more work, we just politely ask that let's wrap up what what is unfinished. If we can wrap that up, then we'll move on. So I guess the big thing is don't burn bridges.
Right.
Try not to burn bridges. I mean, obviously there's going to be some bridges that cannot be repaired, but for the most part, we try not to burn bridges because somebody could have been down on their luck and just need a little bit of help, and just do what we can.
Yeah, we run into that sometimes too. Like a lot of times we'll have good clients. We know they have the money or whatever, and sometimes they're very late on a payment. And we try to be polite and like trying to walk that line between like, hey, come on, we need our money for the work, and not trying to annoy a customer to the point where they don't want to work with you again. So it's hard to kind of like walk that line, But then there's been a few people who just like, just refuse to pay.
I was going to say, yeah, we have payroll, but you must have like a pretty large payroll, and you have buildings and a lot of equipment to maintain and trucks and all that stuff. So
Yep.
it's got to be important to keep the cash flow at Electrical Plus.
Oh, yes. With any business, everybody's got, like it's funny to hear people when they, you mention your price and they're like, oh my God, I'd like to make that. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure anybody and everybody would. So would we. And the thing is what goes into it. I got a truck showing up at your house, fully stocked, should be fully stocked, with 2 guys in it that have health insurance. The truck's insured, the company's insured, doing a service for you, and we come to you. So when you look at that, what is value?
Right. And that enables you to keep those employees staying with you for a long period of time, right?
Yep.
So are you kind of like an outlier in your industry of like offering health benefits and 401k to your employees? Is that typical of your industry, or is that something you're kind of unique? It's
becoming more normal now because unfortunately, it is fortunate because everybody needs health insurance, and everywhere we're going, in order to keep your employees, is you got to offer benefits. And that's become an industry standard and everywhere. So
the customer might have to pay a little bit more, but you're getting that quality of employee because those are people who have stayed with you a longer time. They're going to be delivering higher level of work because of that.
Correct.
Right.
So with payroll, obviously balancing the company needs to make a profit. You guys all need to get all those benefits and everyone paid. What was your process to kind of develop a pricing structure as the business grew? How did you kind of calculate that out? Was it kind of on the fly, or did you have like a metric you kind of scaled with the business as it was growing?
So at the start, it was kind of going with, I guess, working with industry standards, I guess, if you want to call it. Looking at what other contractors are charging, seeing where we're at, seeing, where am I in that, size wise. So if you got, sole props or, one, two, or one or two man shop, your prices are going to be a little bit, your overhead is less. So you're going to be a little bit cheaper. As you grow, you're going to need to go ahead and increase. The one thing is the nice, I guess I would watch as the, profits and everything like that at the end of the year, looking at where we were, talking with my accountant and getting ideas, trying to figure out what is a proper budget, what is a proper, cost. I'm not looking to make, a mint off of one client. I want to make sure that we, have a fair price, because when I sit down and look at the estimates, would I pay that? Is that for the quality work that we're getting, is that a reasonable price? And for the most part, I'm either looking at it and be like, we could probably knock something off. Whether it be time, whether it be in material, looking at different, types of material, without cutting quality, is where can we help these people out?
And do you ever offer like discounts or anything like that? How do you feel about like when you do want to reduce the price for somebody? Like, do you have like a process for how that negotiation takes place?
So when we do offer discounts, military discounts, try to help them out as much as possible. As far as walking through a job, if I bid a job for 8 hours and my guys get in there and they knock it out in 4, we're giving a discount. We're time and material. The guys will, which is great, is the guys are more apt, or my guys are trained, or they have that mentality is, hey, we knocked this one out. What can we do to help the client out? All right, let's look at the price, see what we can do.
And that's nice too, because then it kind of gives the client, you might have more budget if you want more work to do, instead of just, you guys took a nice fat load and they're kind of like, wow, that seems expensive, or something they did in 2 hours when, oh, wow, that was really affordable. Let's have them look at the outside lights we've been talking about. So that's a nice entree to repeat work too.
Yeah, building a relationship. That's the one thing, is we want to build a relationship. That's what, sells our business. And the other thing is I'm walking around town. People see me, when you put your face out there, you want to, make for sure that people aren't talking behind your back or talking about you while you're on the streets. So if they are, hopefully it's good. So we want to keep that relationship.
Yeah, and you're very involved in the community, in chambers and BNI and all these different places. Mm-hmm. So do you think that has an impact on the success of your business as well?
Oh, I think so. I think it's, with those, growing, and then just the way that we hold ourselves. Right now, if you read our reviews, it's not me. It's my guys. My guys are selling this business. The guys are really rocking it right now. They've big with the relationships with our clients. They're talking, communicating, and just creating a great atmosphere on the job, in the workplace. It's just been awesome. Very blessed to have the guys that I have. It's just amazing to be in the position that I'm in.
So it sounds like word of mouth was one of your biggest marketing strategies going through. What other stuff did you implement because with your targeted slow and steady growth, mm-hmm. what other techniques did you try to implement to kind of maintain that?
The growth is try to get help as many people as we possibly can, which was tough because, everybody's like, you can't do everything. I'm like, you're right, I can't. But we got to try. And then how do we go ahead and do it? And it's tough. There's people, if we can't get to them in time, what we'll do is we'll network with other electricians. There's other people out there that can, do the same thing that we do. So we try to, cultivate a relationship with other contractors that, hey, if we can't get to it, I want to have somebody that is going to treat that client the same way that we would do it.
Well, how are these people finding you?
Word of mouth, neighbors. Now we got a commercial, we've got Facebook, I've got a marketing department, I call it, a company that we hire to do all of our marketing, social media stuff. So we're getting a lot of stuff out there based. Google reviews is huge right now. So I think the one thing when COVID started, people started looking, and they were looking to spend, significant amount of money, and they want to make sure that whoever they're hiring is going to be a good company that they can make for sure it's going to get taken care of and taken care of properly. So the Google reviews, like I said, the guys selling this company, it makes it so much easier to go ahead and find work.
And do you like Google reviews more than other types of reviews? I know I'm a big fan of Google reviews personally, because I think Google is it's the main search engine that everyone's using. So
Right.
It makes sense that's the first place they're going to see the reviews. What are your thoughts on Google reviews versus other reviews?
I don't really get into all that stuff. I leave that to the marketing department to go ahead and kind of tell me where do we need to go. Any review is a good review. Obviously, we don't want bad reviews, but we are human. We make mistakes. If we do get a bad review, we're going to contact them and be like, hey, what can we do? Where do we mess up? How do we correct this? Because it's not right. And so we want to follow up on those as well.
Have you gotten people to change a bad review to a good review?
I believe we have.
Or how did you go about that?
They, just contact them, see what the problem was, meet up with them, go through it. And, the big thing is, I'm like, if I didn't care, I wouldn't call. And, I think that really changes the way people think. They're like, oh, you're right. You do care. Yeah, we do.
So with the business growth, what was the process like from going from you running a few jobs as, I guess, just filling your week out to now you must have, I think last time we talked, you had like months out of scheduling. How do you guys manage the scheduling, and what's your process to keep all the jobs organized?
Well, we have software that we have everybody's jobs on the schedule with all the crews that are going to be doing the jobs. Andrew takes care, and Christina in the office, they take care of maintaining that job schedule. As jobs get wrapped up, they start moving stuff up if they can. They've got troubleshoots and stuff like that they can try to fill in a day. Say if the guys wrap up early, put a small job on so they can get out there and start doing some of the smaller stuff. So it's tough telling people that we're 6 weeks out, but for the most part, we can only do so much. So only so many hours in a day. We do our best to try to fit them in. If it's emergency, we want to try to get that done sooner than later, if we can right away. Some of the projects, put some lighting in and stuff like that. We hope that they're understanding and that it's going to take a little bit of time, but we will take care of them, put them on the schedule, and try to keep that schedule.
And what software is that you're using?
House Call Pro.
Okay, it's like scheduling software.
Yep.
Is it project management as well, or just the schedule?
Schedule we use schedule. We get the estimates, invoicing, everything goes through them.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Excuse me. So I want to talk a little bit about, I know electrical field is, I wouldn't say it's more dangerous than some of the other trades, but you're definitely working with electricity, and we've seen a lot of electricians just pop the cap off and just start working with something with their tools, not even wearing gloves or anything.
Yep.
What procedures have you used to kind of protect your guys and make sure that there's no injuries?
Take your time. The one thing is with electric is take your time, respect it. The minute that you disrespect it, it's going to get you. We just had, as far as electricians, we lost not us, but, a guy who had his own business lost his life to electric, working on his own house. And I think that's the one thing is we we take for granted at times. When we're working in our house, we just kind of get lackadaisical and just kind of I'll just take care of it. I'll get it done, and just don't put in our safety procedures to make for sure that we're safe there. With working around clients, I think it's a little bit easier to stay safe because you don't want to go ahead and bring attention to yourself while working in a house. I guess the big thing is slow down. Slow down. We want to make for sure the job gets done in a timely manner, but time and money is one thing, but life is another. And if we can stay safe,
Right.
that's worth it.
So what was this guy working on when he lost his life?
He was, from what I understand, he was working on a generator, putting a generator on his house, and I don't know the details of it, but I guess he left the power on or something, and it got him. It grabbed him.
Yeah, that's like I've done a lot of stuff around my house, renovated the whole kitchen. But electric's the one thing I just prefer someone else to do.
Right.
Yeah, that's why you call it professional, right? But I guess he was a professional. He just got complacent.
Yep. Yep.
That's crazy. So I'm glad you guys are keeping it safe. 'Cause
Yeah.
we don't want to hear those
No.
stories.
Yeah.
So with your guys' customer service, is there anything you've put in place as you were growing from, like I said, individual to a pretty large company? What kind of procedures did you have to make sure that everyone's always happy and you guys have that reputation of and continue to get those word of mouth recommendations?
Communication. And like I said, communication is number one. From the start, making sure that if we have a talk with a client, when we put them on the schedule, and make sure that we're staying true to our time, know exactly what we're doing. If we continue to communicate with them the whole process, I think that's the big thing with how we take care of our clients and how they keep on coming back is that we care and keep going. And the guys, that's one thing, like you were saying with the procedures and everything, when they meet with the client, it's that constant communication line is what really helps us.
So I guess we can move forward a little bit. So things that were growing at a good steady rate, and then we had COVID a few years ago. How did your business fare through that? What did that look like when it first hit and things started really shutting down in that March, February, April area?
That was tough. We were shut down for 6 weeks. I guess, good thing that came out of that was sitting down, looking at the books, looking at, what the company was like, where the money was coming from, what it was, who was, I guess, putting it in is with jobs wise and stuff like that, and kind of got me to really take a look at more of the guys and what can we do. And the guys were, when I look at the numbers on the number of jobs that we were doing, the size of the jobs that we were doing, it just kind of, that was when we shut down. And then when we came back, it was more people looking at us and I guess trying to figure out how to manage it. It was tough.
Was there like a fear in the customers of bringing you guys into the home?
Yes, in some cases there was, and we just kind of worked with them and said, hey, here's the deal. We got this. If you're, okay with it, we're good. We had masks, gloves. Everybody had sanitizer in there. So whatever we could do to make them feel comfortable. If they were uncomfortable, just let us know when you're ready, and then we'll go ahead and, put you on the schedule, take care of it.
And so when did you see the turnaround of things kind of coming back to normal? How long did that take from the shutdown to you guys were back to full speed, would you say?
Well, shut down 6 weeks, and then luckily I had all my guys come back. And then probably the first month, 2 months, it was kind of slow trying to find, the jobs. There were some people that were just like, get it done. But then I'd say probably in a couple months, then all of a sudden we just started landing more jobs. I guess because people had their PPP loans, and then also people staying home. They had their vacation fund that they put into their house. They wanted to see more staycation. And then, with some contractors, took that time to say, you know what, all right, I did it, I'm done. And then next, we're picking up new clients, contractors.
So other businesses were kind of taking that chance to close down, and you guys saw an influx from that.
Yes.
That's good. So what were you doing to keep, I guess, morale up with the guys? Like maybe they enjoyed their time off, but was there any kind of management you had to do to keep the culture and the energy up in the crew? The future was very murky at that point.
Oh, yeah. Now, I guess the one thing that, I try to, do before and still do is, be there for the guys. At times on Fridays, when the weather was nice, I'd get the grill out. I'd get, grab the smoker, would smoke up some brisket, ribs, whatever, have the guys,
Nice.
Get together, get the families together, and, invite them to, come in and enjoy some food, also get to meet the rest of the crew. So try to keep it that family atmosphere as much as we can.
Okay, good. And think you guys bigger than ever at this point now?
Well, right now, yeah, we have, I think I have 18 employees.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's been, and still looking to grow. We have room to grow. We need some help. But yeah.
And you mentioned before we got on the air that you're still hiring, and there's a lot of guys that are just struggling to find people. Like that's kind of globally right now,
Yes.
or at least in the U.S.
Yes. Yeah. There's a lot. Any business owner or anybody in, not even the trades, lawyers, everywhere. It's just kind of, it's a common theme now is that everybody's looking.
So what have you been doing to kind of help yourself stand out in the, people have a lot of choices. Like McDonald's was paying $15 an hour now. Like, what do you do to help stand out from all the other people who are also, I'm sure every other electrician company is hiring right now too.
Well, like I said, the big one is the guys, the environment. When we've had a couple people that actually looked at our Google reviews, and they want to be a part of that team that is out there doing good. So they're actually, that's one way they're looking at us. Two, I think our benefits program our package is very, very good. We offer health insurance, life insurance, short-term, long-term disability, IRA plan. And the company matches 3%.
Oh, wow, that's pretty good. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really good. And everybody's looking for a job. Electrical Plus is hiring.
Yes.
How many more people are you looking to hire?
That's a tough ask. I mean, it's kind of, like I said, we're 6 weeks out. It's still a concern. I mean, the one thing is I don't want to hire people and then have to lay people off. I want to make sure that we have, we're looking 6 months out. We're looking at what is this trend going to do. I want to make sure that when people do sign up that we're not letting them down. We have to go ahead and make sure that we have something full-time for them. No part-time work. It's, full-time. And so as far as right now, our big thing is we just, a mechanic, somebody that can get out on a job and take a scope of work and run with it and, talk to clients, talk to contractors and look at plans, stuff like that. Right now, I'd say, one of those, 2 would be a stretch, but who knows? I mean, the nice thing is what's been great, as we bring on people, or still more work seems to keep coming in, which is great.
And is there seasonal flux in your business? Like, are you busier sometimes than others? Like, is there a concern a certain time of the year there might not be enough work for all your employees?
Yes, typically for our industry, your winter months are your slow time. We have not seen a slow time. It's
because you
been,
have such a great base of customers.
yeah, it's been amazing. I mean, there has been some kind of lulls where the guys are not getting, quite 40 hours, but for the most part, we've stayed pretty steady.
That's awesome.
That's good. I wanted to talk a little bit about the services you guys provide going through the life of the company. Have you seen like a shift in what people are looking to have done, or has it been pretty steady? Like, I know the products have obviously technology's advanced, but have you seen a shift in what people want out of you guys as a company?
Not really. I mean, as far as products, yeah, products are the big thing. LEDs. Some people are still, want to stick with the incandescents. They're not a fan of LED color. LEDs come a long ways. Big things, right now is what's clean, in the house. Obviously, I guess another one was generators were a big thing when the storms are blowing through, and then the whole grid thing. People were kind of concerned, so they're like, I want to make sure I'm covered here. And the big one now, electric cars. So charging stations for electric cars is the big one right now.
When did you guys start putting in charging stations?
We've been doing it for a couple of years now, but it seems to be more steady. So I guess, yeah, in the past year, it ramped up. That's with the incentives and now gas prices, everybody's
Switching over electrics.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wish I could right now.
yes.
So one question I have is, once you've built such a large business, what do you have like an exit strategy for like when you're thinking about retiring or anything like that? Like, what do you do with the business once it's done fulfilling your needs? Where do you go from there?
Well, the company needs to still, one thing I want is to have the logo, the name, to continue on. So I would like to see somebody take it over that has the same philosophies, same morals, same drive that I have. Concern about people. If it doesn't, then it probably won't. But I need to know that. If I'm still walking the streets, that Electrical Plus is still taking care of the clients, doing what, I set it out to do.
Mm-hmm.
Keep that reputation going.
Yes. Yeah. And I think we got, like I said, we've got some great guys that are working for me. Will my kids take it over? I don't. It's not, nothing's in stone. But yeah.
So it's more important you find someone who's going to carry on the values of the company than just, it's going to my son or your daughter.
Yes. No, it has to have the values. It's not just being handed out. We need to go ahead and make sure that we're taking care of our clients and, of course, the employees.
Good. That's awesome to hear. Let's see. Are you guys having any issues with supply chain stuff right now, getting parts or bulbs or fixtures and stuff like that?
Not too much. We haven't seen a whole lot. I know some of the products that we use, we can't get a hold of. Meter sockets, stuff like that we're running into issues with the supply chain. Talking to our supply house, multiple supply houses, they can't even get a hold of it. So it's, but for the most part, we've been pretty good.
Nice.
And what do you do to, I guess you have a consultation walkthrough. A lot of people will just tell you what they want. Do you have a process where you'll kind of suggest things to clients, let them know what's available? Because I know there's probably way more than people even imagine, from security cameras to, like you said, charging stations. What's your process? I don't want to call it upselling, but what's your process of kind of giving them a menu of, this is all the stuff we can do?
Well, yeah, the one thing is everybody knows what they know, don't know what they don't know. So we give suggestions. Don't like to use the word upsell. The one thing is ideas. If we're if we're there and we're doing some work, and like, here's some options. Here's what we can go through. If we can set you up for this growth in the future, here's how we can do it. Different products out there that they may not know that we can, kind of show. And, the other thing is how can we save them money? A lot of times that we'll walk in and they say, I want this. I'm like, why? Well, because I need it. I'm like, you don't.
Like what? In what circumstance would you say that?
Well, so the whole philosophy, bigger is better. So services are a big one. You walk into a 1,000 square foot home or 1,600 square foot home, and they have a 100 amp service, brand new, and they're talking about well, I want a 200 amp. Well, why? Because here it's better. I'm like, are we doing an addition? Are we doing what are you adding? What are you changing? What's the profile of the house? What is what are you looking to do? Well, nothing really. I'm like, then why? Are you seeing any problems? No. Then why change? And a lot of times people are like, oh, thank you, I appreciate that. You'd save them a couple grand here and there.
Sure, there's plenty of people who'd be like, sounds good. Do you want me to come tomorrow?
Yeah, exactly. And then the other thing is like, I need more recessed lights, or I need more light because I can't see. Well, it might be just as simple as change out the bulb, change out the trim. The big one is with recessed lights back in the 70s, 80s. They, the white with the black baffle trims. Well, black baffle trims absorb so much light that you're not getting your full potential out of your bulb. We'll change it out to a white trim, get some more reflection, lighten up your room. Try that first, and then if it's still not enough, then let's talk about more lighting. But otherwise, simple might be better.
Simple fix. It saves them money, and it makes you look good because you just saved them money, basically.
So with your guys' service being strictly electric, mostly residential, some commercial work, do you guys have ever had the idea of moving into I know a lot of plumbing's also, now they offer HVAC. A lot of people just grab another little piece of the industry. Is that something you guys have ever considered, or?
No, not as of right now. No. The reason is when I first started the company, Electrical Plus, everybody's like, on the card it says light construction. The reason why I was Electrical Plus, I did Electrical Plus small. I wanted, I tell people, like, what is the plus? Well, whatever you need. I'm looking to grow a business. At the time I was like, if you need me to go get groceries, I'll go get the groceries. And people just laugh. And I'm like, no, I'm serious. Whatever you want, I want to build this business. But the one thing is that I knew what my limitations were. Flooring. I don't know flooring. So if I'm not an expert at it, I'm not going to do it. If my guys are not comfortable with it, I'm not going to do it. So we have a lot of conversations with them. Would you like to see change? Would you like to add anything to Electrical Plus? And if they bring something to me, I'm like, okay, well, let's take a look at it and see what does that look like. And do we have, everybody on board to go ahead and, get behind that? If not everybody's behind it, then we kind of table it and see if it comes back up or walk away.
So you'll let the guys come up with ideas for additional services and stuff. That might be nice. Have you guys come up with any good ones out of that?
Well, the electric car chargers, some people have brought that maybe it'd be nice to get certified through Tesla or some of these. It's, in the works. Generators, we got into the generators. Right now we're kind of walking away. We'll do the installs. We don't have enough people. The problem is we don't have enough people to go ahead and maintain and do the service end of it. So to be able to train them and, give full service on it is tough right now. And if I can't give full service, I don't want to be a part of it.
You mean training the homeowner?
Training the employees to do.
Oh, on how to do it.
On how to, installs. We got the installs down, but if there's a problem with the generator, if there's a red light, what do we do? How do you troubleshoot it?
So you don't want to install something that you can't service, essentially.
Prefer not to.
Is there continuing education that these companies offer?
Yeah, there is. It's just, how do I take my already full-time guys and take them off the job
for
training, and I want to see them get it. And I want to make sure that the people that, I'm not just going to grab any guy. I want to make sure that they want to do it, and then we'll move that way.
Yeah, but when you're 6 weeks booked,
It's tough.
it's tough.
It's tough.
Oh yeah, tell us a little bit about what you were saying before we started rolling, how you're looking to hire new people, but sometimes they're withdrawing their willingness to participate at the last minute or even after they've received the job.
Yeah, I guess, like I was saying, it is, it's the time that it's the, I guess the date and time that we're in, that everybody's out there, trying to better themselves. I can't blame them for that. It's just, we need to start looking at the respect of other people and their time. And, if you're truly looking to move, then, be honest in your interviewing process. And then the other thing is as business owners, we have to be open with our employees and say, hey, I'm not happy. What's going on? So I guess that's the big thing that I just don't want to.
Or what were you seeing? What was happening?
People, they would, come in for an interview, and then they would, look good and everything would be great. We'd send off, an acceptance letter. They would accept, and then all of a sudden come back and say, my employer went ahead and offered me a promotion. And it's like, all right, good for you, but that's, you accept it. And it's just kind of, unethical to take that route.
Yeah, using your offer as leverage in his current job.
Yes.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I guess that's kind of new. I haven't heard of people doing that before. But
Yeah.
I don't know if that's something that's been done
in
a while.
software and in a lot of higher paying jobs, people do that all the time.
Really?
Just 2 years here, move somewhere else, get a raise, and then 2 years somewhere else, move up.
A lateral move, kind of.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So let me see. I guess we can kind of wrap up with, for someone, if someone's listening who has a business in the trades or is starting one or has maybe a failing one, what kind of advice would you give just in general to someone who's looking to grow their business?
Listen. I mean, the one thing is the only thing that will help you. I mean, obviously the knowledge of the business, the knowledge of, how to grow the business is, in your expertise in that. But the big ones that I think, if I had to say, what helped Electrical Plus grow was listening to my employees, listening to my clients, and putting them first. At the end of the day, we all make out, but at first it needs to be the employees and it needs to be the clients, because if you don't have those, you don't have a business.
Good advice.
And do you have any big plans for the future of Electrical Plus, or you guys continue that slow and steady growth?
Well, there's talks. There's talks, but it's just talk. It's, kind of sidebar kinds of conversations. But yeah, slow, steady right now is, stick with what I got and, see if there's, new opportunities. If there's electricians out there that, want to kind of, make a move or, kind of partner. Well, I don't want to say partner, but if they want to go ahead and, look at being a part of something that has great potential, there's always conversation. I mean, I've had people that were starting up their business that would, give me a call and sit down and ask how we did it. And I'll sit down with anybody. I think there's plenty of work out there for a lot of people. We can't do it all. So, I want to make sure that whoever's doing it is taking care of the clients.
Nice.
So you've never been fearful of competition, more just there's plenty to go.
No, exactly. And the one thing is it really competition? That's a big question everybody asks. So who's your competition? I'm like, I don't know. I don't. I mean, I feel if you're holding a service or you're giving a service, a product and service, and it's a high quality, is there really competition? So.
Well, that makes sense. Jeremy, thank you very much for joining us today. We really appreciate all your insights and.
Yeah, thanks for coming out.
No problem. Thank you for the invite.
Stories from the Top is your guide to successful business development. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts or find Edge of Cinema on YouTube. Stories from the Top is an Edge of Cinema production, hosted by Matthew Skura and Jeremy Schmidt. To learn more or get in touch, visit edgeofcinema.com/podcast.